Greetings, fellow heroes and villains in the making. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And we're back to discuss Ben Lifson and Company's superhero-based series.
Made possible by the fans of a really good idea.
So join us as we chronicle the goings-on of Super Academy in our special podcast, our top 5 favorite moments of Super Academy Season 1. Oh boy, Dragon, how you doing tonight?
Super.
Awesome. I'm super too. Thanks for asking. Little South Park reference. Anyways, all right, folks. So we are here for a very noble cause to celebrate this great fan-made series by Ben Lifson, Jacob Gulliver, Kyle Decker, and a wonderful host of cast and crew. We're here to salute Super Academy and pay tribute to our top 5 favorite moments of season 1. But why are we doing this, Dragon? What particular occasion are we here to kind of help promote?
For the most noble of purposes, Tiki. Spreading the word and getting hype. Hype, Tiki. In the name of all that is holy and hype-worthy. Super Academy needs your help, folks. If you enjoyed Season 1 like Tiki, I, and many other people did.
I just watched the whole thing with my dad. I showed it to my dad for the first time, and he loved it. So
yes. If you love, quality works, if you like action, if you like character drama, if you like development, if you like kind of the elbow grease of wholesome filmmaking, first of all, you got to check out Super Academy. Second of all, you got to go to Hot Chocolate Media for the Movie Machine podcast.
Yes. They just had the writer of Doctor Strange on there, so definitely check that out.
But above all else, show your support for these guys who made this. Of course, the wonderful Ben Lifson, Jacob Gulliver, Kyle Decker, and others. Company, if you will. Show your support to everyone, because this series, they were trying to make a season 2, and my God, do we want to see a season 2? The only way that happens is if everyone, if not immediately, you have to spread the word. So tell it to everyone, tell a mailman, tell everyone about this Kickstarter for you getting season 2 made, because if it doesn't reach the deadline, folks, it's going to be a really long road to get a season 2 made. Possibly, who knows? Maybe never. Again, it could be like the thought in the back of your mind, like the show that never was. We can't let that thought linger, man. We gotta go to the Kickstarter link on. Basically, they've updated every Super Academy episode from the first season, so they link to the current Kickstarter is there, as well as below this video, and any of the awesome live streaming events that they do on Super Academy to promote people to look at the Kickstarter. Live streams. Again, I encourage everyone to check this out as well. Again, folks. Donate, be all nice and summer seasonal, if you will. Don't donate to a worthy cause. Super Academy, Season 2.
I have the link there right in the description, folks. And as Dragon said, donate if you can, but also just spread the word if you like the series and whatnot. We're going to make this as quick as we can, because I don't want to make this a podcast that, people don't want to click on because of the runtime. So we're going to try and make this as breezy as possible, folks. But Dragon and I, basically what we've done, we've compiled our top 5 favorite moments from the first 4 episodes. Dragon, I believe we don't have any moments from the pilot. Is that correct?
No, I've kind of, it's so weird. Every time I rewatch, every time I binge the season of Super Academy, I keep noticing, the whole series, which includes 4 episodes and a pilot, I keep noticing, the pilot really doesn't, it really divorces itself from the series in a way, almost. I know it's kind of strange to say that, but I mean the first 4, episodes 1 through 4 are really strong, and they kind of, I don't want to say the pilot doesn't make them look bad by comparison, but just you can definitely get like that's the series pitch versus where the story really starts. So it's kind of where I'm at with the pilot versus the episode. So we kind of focused on the episodes with that in mind.
All right, so Dragon, do you have 3 honorable mentions, Dragon?
Yes, I do.
Cool beans. We're on the same page. All right. So folks, we'll just go through. We'll quickly list off some honorable mentions, and then we will get into the nitty-gritty and our top 5 favorite moments. All right, Dragon. So we'll just bang this out really quick, okay? We'll just I'll go through, say my 3 honorable mentions. You go through, say your 3 honorable mentions. All right? Okay, so my first honorable mention is from Season 1, Episode 2, Slothmaster on Crimson Toro. Oh boy. Now, Dragon, this is, I believe, the first speaking part we get from Scott Reefer as Slothmaster, and boy, is it a great introduction to him. We have some little bits of him in the party scene in episode 2. That's his first appearance in the series. But then this is the first major Slothmaster gag, and I just want to point it out. It's just the great kind of use of slow-mo, like he's sort of like, he's still going in slow motion, but he's somewhat sped up. Of course, it's using to establish the energy drink Crimson Toro, which will be coming up later on the list. So, it's just a quick, it's almost kind of like a Family Guy cutaway gag. Like, oh, you should have seen when Slothmaster got his hands on some of this stuff. And then it cuts away like Slothmaster's like, kind of pacing around like, watch out. I'm super sloth. And then people are like genuinely concerned, like, slow down, you maniac. So yeah, Slothmaster on Crimson Toro, really fun moment. Dragon, I love the ending of episode 1, didn't quite make it onto my top 5, but of course it gave us one of our favorite moments, one of our favorite ideas, which was Dark Cop giving Power Kid the mini dictionary. Very sweet moment, very kind of like it's just sort of it sets the stage for the Power Kid and Dark Cop dynamic going into the next 3 episodes really well. It's Power Kid and Dark Cop kind of getting on the same page with each other and really connecting, and I like it a lot. And my final moment, Dragon, it really killed me not to put this on the list. It really did. Just goes to show how many awesome episodes there are and awesome moments there are. But, oh, God, Dragon, I love some Starburst. And it's funny, Dragon, because Starburst I kind of feel like is just, he's a guy for, like, one-liners and moments, but it's like he doesn't really have a major standout, like, oh, my God, that was amazing, like some of the other things I'm going to have here. But the Starburst moment that absolutely cinches it is and you know what this is going to be, Dragon. The great cut when we're in the simulators in episode 1, and then Starburst is just looking at his phone, totally uninterested. He's just like, oh, man, I'm totally jonesing on some Degrassi right now.
I'm amazed that didn't make it into kind of your main listing. I gotta say.
Like I said, it's the only reason it didn't make it in is because it's such a quick moment, whereas the others are kind of more scenes. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I know how much you love that moment.
And also, I love the fact that like when the Super Academy guys did their live stream, when Jacob and Kyle were talking on the live stream, which you guys should check out because that's 3.5 hours of really good content right there. Really fun stories.
Good content and promotion of Super Academy.
Yes. But no, Kyle Decker had this story about how that line, the Degrassi line, was literally him just feeding Owen Grace that line like right before they went on. Just they needed something for Starburst to say as they cut to him, and Kyle was just like, say you're jonesing for some Degrassi, and so I think it really tickles Kyle Decker that we got such a kick out of that line. So gotta give it some credit. Like I said, the only reason it's not on my top 5 is because my other top 5 are more kind of scenes than moments. So yeah. Okay, go ahead, Dragon. What are your honorable mentions?
Okay, real quick, here are my honorable mentions. So I guess the third in the 3 honorable mentions would be it's this really great moment. I remember when we were going through the season. Essentially, folks, we, of course, with Super Academy Chronicles, for those who will mini recap, we go through every moment of the episode, essentially. I remember at the very end of episode 3, basically our post-credits scene.
Comb through it with like a little, like a little magnifying glass.
Essentially, like a magnifying glass and a little mini Barbie comb. That's essentially kind of what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah, what's that? Oh, there's an idea. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, I think that's where they're going with that idea. Let's keep anyway. So, basically, they have like these little post-credit tags. Basically, if not the credits play afterwards, but I believe it's very much after the credits. They have like these little moments play, and the ending of 3 was like this really nice, quiet one. It was a nice, quiet build that really got you hyped up for the 4th episode. It was Dark Cop going after Deathside for Power Kid alone. There's that great moment where it's really like this noble post-credit moment where Dark Cop, you know, just he's looking on the screen. He's been kind of asleep in his chair with his cape as a blanket, essentially, and basically he finally has a location on where Desai is. He kind of looks to like a sleeping Power Kid, and he doesn't want to wake him up. It's a little moment that kind of epitomizes the friendship and kind of the like hints at the sacrifice that Dark Cop is willing to make for Power Kid, and you know, just the fact he kind of spares his friend from having to go up against this. And the thing that impresses me most about this is that it's done without dialogue. Because it's such a quick moment, I kind of put it you know, in the honorable mentions for that reason.
It comes back in a really nice way, though, at the end of the season.
It does, and just like you have so many other Dark Cop Power Kid moments, it just kind of didn't make the cut for that reason. Okay, next, the teleportation spell payoff. So basically, the episode 4, the big climatic build of episode 4 is really great, tense, and Tegan and I were geeking out over it so much in episode 4. Is this great, tense, very well edited, edge of your seat moment where Deathside and Chaotrix, so, you know, they're like they're almost like a maze setup in the big warehouse at the end of season 4, where you know, Dark Cop, he's been beaten senseless, and it looks like he's going to be cornered, and you know, they're gonna kill him, and we already cut this with, you know, Corona's finally got a location on Dark Cop, and then Glyph.
The power of the motivational kitty poster.
Yes, and Glyph, it is worth so well that Eric Andrade's score is just it's kicking in high gear in like 2 moments on this list. They're just like so well punctuated with the score in that moment where basically, you know, she finally got this spell she's been working on ever since the beginning. It was kind of like, if not her thesis, then it was like some sort of, it was a special project she was working on getting.
I'm pretty sure it was her thesis.
Right, you're getting the teleportation spell just right, and like just everything at the last second works out, and we have this beautiful shot that all leads to where Dark Cop visually is, you know, with his friends, and he is, you know, we kind of fulfill his arc of the season where, you know, he's surrounded by friends and he actually asks for help. You know, he lets his guard down. He needs help in this moment. He accepts it. You have like that great shot of all of our main 4 characters of the season all next to each other when things are at their most dangerous. So it's like really great, kind of like, oh yeah, it's like a fist pumping. It's kind of like the equivalent of the Avengers, like, you know, circling around shots.
Yeah, it's kind of like its own little mini version of that, right? I can see
like
that.
A great build-up additionally to that.
Look at us. We're a couple of jackasses standing in a circle.
And lastly, because this moment is just so awesome, it speaks for itself. But you know, Dark Cop and Power Kid playing the basketball game between Dark Cop and Power Kid.
I know you. Yeah. That's great. Dark Cop in the gym outfit.
Yeah, but it's 2 things in this scene that really stick out to me. The comic timing is great. Again, Gullickson and the Femme writers, they're always perfect together. And Corona also is just, she's flawless in this scene. She's so, you know, hypercharged thanks to the Crimson Toro. And, you know, she's like, I love it whenever she gets hyped up, or she gets like, it's like her way of expressing empathy or something, like where basically usually basically moves her hands in this sort of motion, like on people's arms and on their faces sometimes, which she does right after, you know, she accidentally bops Dark Cop in the face with a basketball. And again, we've heard the filming story of that, which is pretty funny, just literally chucking a basketball at poor Andy Gullickson's head.
God.
But yeah, you can feel discomfort and annoyance in the performance on Gullickson, which is just punctuated so wonderfully by Femra. It's like, oh jeez.
Yeah, Femra's doing great, like, yeah, ooh.
And again, just the little refreshers. What I love so much is thinking about the moment. I love the fact that Dark Cop has like this drone-like system that drops the packages all throughout the school, and the fact that the little package he has for Power Kid, it's gift wrapped. I love the fact that it's gift wrapped. It just shows you that, again, while Dark Cop's all stern, he's all, you know, he's trying to be Batman. At the same time, you know, it's a little touches like that show the humanity. You know, he gift wrapped it. It was like, that's his idea of a gift. Hey, attach this, staple this to your spinal cord. Okay.
Okay, cool. So my number 5 Dragon, kind of close to your moment. It is the Crimson Toro Nightmare. Oh God. Now, I believe the crew has gone on record a number of times saying this was by far the most surreal filming experience they've ever had. It's just like Alex Jeffries, and I'm terribly sorry, I forget the name of the guy who plays the Crimson Toro himself, but it's like they're just in this dark room, like dancing with each other and playing patty cake and like God knows what else.
I love Alex Jeffries so much. At this moment,
He's great.
Delighted me so.
And I just think I can't get over the delivery of the Crimson Toro. Just like, you'll drink too much, chica. I don't know. It's surrealism at its finest. You know what I mean? It's surrealism that's on a low budget, but it's done so well to get you into that mood. And it also has a great build up where throughout the episode, we're kind of, we see Corona's energy draining and then we see her get the energy again. And it's a very kind of realistic depiction of her crashing on the energy drink. And then finally, as she drinks another sip of Crimson Toro, that's when she goes into the hazy Alex Jeffries nightmare. And, my God, Alex Jeffries, if I'm going to have a nightmare about a man playing patty cake, I want it to be about Alex Jeffries.
And you know what? I know it's not substantiated, but I'd like to think just for myself that she only takes 2 sips and the second sip is too much for her.
Oh, God.
I still
I think we're kind of theorizing about that when we were talking about the episode.
That's the thing, and I think it was just kind of left a little vague. I mean, I think 2 is funnier, but whatever, however it plays.
And of course, it also leads to the great ending of that episode with Corona. With Glyph and Corona kind of communicating with each other, and Glyph calming Corona down, and Corona voicing her frustrations about staying on Earth and not having enough time and everything, which might get explored more in season 2. So yeah, just altogether a very fun, surrealist moment that has all kinds of fun behind the scenes stories attached to it.
Again, folks, we're all right to know if we get a season 2.
Yep. All right, Dragon. So you're number 5.
Okay, my number 5. My number 5 is really quick, and I kind of went the route of how you basically your Degrassi moment. Basically, I kind of accepted the Degrassi moment in the top 5 because this moment just for personal kind of elation on my part. This is like a fan servicey moment for me. Dark Cop.
Okay.
It's the Dark Cop handcuff moment. So basically, in episode 4, there's this moment I was really geeking out over in the 4th episode. I love it with Super Academy, just so you kind of know where my list goes for the most part. Honestly, I do believe it's even rewatching. I think the episodes just progressively get better and better. So by that logic, I think episode 4 might be the best episode. So
I mean, for me, I've always been they're all great. For me, episode 2 is my personal favorite because I feel like episode 2 has so many Wes Anderson style touches, and I love the Corona character, and I just love the premise of episode 2, so that's my personal favorite. But
that's fair. And as we were when we talked about when they aired, they all have a distinct flavor to them. So they're all different. But at the same time, while they're different, they also kind of it keeps it keeps getting more and more. Things get build to the climax, and maybe that's
definitely what it is. I'm just saying from a stylistic point of view, I really, really love episode 3.
Sure. Anyway, so the handcuff what?
I was just correcting myself. I said I really love that. I mean, I love episode 3 too, but I really, really love episode 2. Anyways, go ahead.
Right. So again, just the handcuff mode is very simply. The Dark Cop is fighting with Chaotrix, and also I very much love Chaotrix. Unfortunately, she's not in enough moments on my list, but again, you have to pick and choose. So Chaotrix, he's getting into a fight with a really well choreographed fight, as you'd expect from the makers of Super Academy. Anyway, so in this fight, it's just he basically. They're very evenly matched. I think Chaotrix might have a little bit of one up on Dark Cop, but the point is this great moment where Dark Cop, the way he kind of defeats Chaotrix is he pulls out his handcuffs, and basically as she kind of charges for a punch, he cuffs her to a pipe or something. I love that as that's his defeat of Chaotrix in that moment. It's something that it's a very logical way to one up Chaotrix. So basically kind of get her out of the way. He doesn't want to really, because again, it is Power Kid's sister. He doesn't want to hurt her even if he could.
Mm-hmm.
Too much, and at the same time, again, it's a way of kind of getting away your opponent, because again, he has bigger matters of stopping the machine that's going to destroy Super Academy. And it's for me, it's just this great fist pumping punctuation to a fight. That's the best way I can describe it. It's yes, there you go. It's it's a visual representation of Dark Cop's name. It's him saving the day as a vigilante cop. That's kind of what he did in that moment. He's using using the handcuffs in that, basically using the handcuffs as like that ultimate way to defeat her. That again, it's always, to me, it's always cool and kind of a rare move you see, when you can use handcuffs in a fight and actually be victorious.
Nice.
As if it's more for me, but that's
for sure.
That's the name proven on screen. Yeah.
So, Dragon, speaking of my favorite episodes, man, I'm like realizing this more and more, that how imbalanced my list is, because I have my number 5 was a moment from episode 2, and my number 4 is going to be a moment from episode 3, but then my entire top 3, Dragon, are also moments from episode 2. So, folks, again, it's like all the episodes are great. It's just episode 2 just really struck a nerve for me, and it's definitely like the one that I go back to the most. But I just don't want to make it seem like I don't like the other episodes. So let's talk about one of the other episodes. Episode 3, Dragon, is also a very, very strong episode with a lot of build-up. I think episode 3 is probably the best plot-centric episode of any of them, because of the all the build-up going into the finale, all the stuff with Power Kid kind of trying to wrestle with Deathside and Glyph and everything like that. Just really strong stuff with episode 3. Of course, we also have that great intro with Dr. Phantasm. But my moment from episode 3 that I'm going to highlight, because I need to have a Sloth Master moment in my top 5, and you stole the best Sloth Master moment. So, I'm going to go over Sloth Master essentially babysitting Power Kid and Glyph as they take their spiritual psychic journey in episode 3. Now, this is broken up kind of into a couple parts, Dragon, but I just love how Scott Reefer plays it all the way through. So, of course, it's just all in the delivery, you know what I mean? So I love how, Glyph is basically trying to, she's convincing Power Kid to, to go under and like kind of go into her mind with her so she can, so he can help her out and everything. And, I just really love the Glyph and Power Kid dynamic, how she, she loves using Power Kid as kind of someone to bounce ideas off of and whatnot.
Yeah, the ultimate confidant for her.
Yeah. But, so Power Kid's just like, well, that's fine, but who are we going to get to watch our bodies? And then I love how we see Power Kid and Glyph like lying on this kind of like, this like ritualistic looking, there's like marks on the floor, kind of like I don't know exactly what to call it.
Yeah, very seance-y type thing.
Yeah, very seance-y, right. And then we don't see the person at first. We're just, we see Power Kid like, thanks for watching our bodies for us, man. Very polite. And then, of course, we get the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sloth Master. No problem. I'm pretty patient. Okay. Part 2 of this is when Power Kid, of course, comes out of the vision before Glyph, and Power Kid's just like, how long was I in there? And again, the Crimson Toro Dragon, it's such a great running gag and visual throughout the series. But Sloth Master, he has to reach for the Crimson Toro, and I just love the and of course when we talked to Scott Reefer on the live stream we did about a year ago or so, Scott Reefer had the claws with him, and so we got to really get into the nitty-gritty of how he operates the claws and everything. But like Sloth Master just very, very slowly like pokes the hole in the can of Crimson Toro, takes a sip, then meticulously looks, and he's like, about a minute. Just all the timing on that, Dragon, just the physical humor and just the delivery, it's just great. And then, of course, the cherry on top is, Glyph. She wakes up, and Power Kid and Glyph are, like, they're kind of speculating, like, oh, thanks for helping me out, Power Kid. Wait a minute. I was awake. Ooh, what was that? All that mystery. And then Sloth Master's just like, I love how this is almost kind of like a delayed reaction on Sloth Master's part. He's just like, welcome back. And then, of course, the great, I said the cherry on top, but this is the true cherry on top, is when they all go in for the hug. Power Kid and Glyph go in for a hug, and then Sloth Master joins them. But unfortunately, the claws are a little sharp, and much to Femrite's dismay. Claws. So just very, very great, sweet Slothmaster, just being Slothmaster and being awesome and goofy, and wonderful delivery on Scott Reefer's part. Scott Reefer is seriously one of the most talented people on the Super Academy cast. He's a very funny guy. All right.
If only Slothmaster could find someone in. If only Slothmaster could find someone who also has claws that he could, that he could have something in common with, maybe a lobster girl or something. If only there were a season 2 to show something like this.
All right, all right. Your number 4?
Well, believe it or not, my number 4 is also from episode. It's also from episode 3. Sorry, I was looking at the 4 kind of threw me.
Okay.
No, yeah, my number 4 is also from episode 3. It is the failed Dark Cop exit.
Okay, right.
So the whole sequence is,
Dark Cop
he's
Dapper Dan.
Yes, which is a really cool scene in itself. And basically, it's kind of the whole scene, but mainly the ending. It's basically after like a really cool fight scene and interrogation. An element I really like about the interrogation. Again, with Dark Cop, it's a takeoff of Batman. But again, I like that's very original, and it is very Dark Cop over Batman. Again, the idea in many broadly is that he's kind of a failed Batman, or like a Batman in the very early stages of his training, broadly.
Mm-hmm.
And what's kind of cool about that is like his method of interrogation. Again, he's a very Dark Cop. Again, I love how Dark Cop is obsessed with the minutia and the preparation. And with that, one of his great interrogation tools is that he threatens to be real thorn in Dapper Dan's business affairs. Because he uses bureaucracy as a threat, which I think is brilliant with Dark Cop, and I love that. He says, I'm basically. He says something like mentions a bureaucracy, and basically it's like one of his tools of a trade form. I'm deep down a real bureaucrat or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing it injustice, but I mean, just using. I like that he has that kind of tool in his trade versus Batman just punching heads in. And again, this scene on the whole is like kind of like Dark Cop kind of at the he's getting into a fight with Dapper Dan. He's getting the upper hand at the same time. He's a little kind of boastful when he should be. Basically, he's like over-analyzing him during the fight, which kind of leads to Dapper Dan getting a few shots in. The point is, after he gets the information, after the bureaucracy threat, which is where the point I'm getting at here, is that after the bureaucracy threat, he then, mid-sentence, very much, this is the main reason I like this, because some of my favorite moments in all of Batman traditionally are when Batman disappears mid-sentence.
Right, of course.
So with Dark Cop, I laughed so hard when we had this moment in the episode. Oh God, when Dark Cop disappears mid-sentence, and you hear off-screen, you see Dapper Dan's reaction. Dark Cop, off-screen, you hear him like crash through a window, like, oh, come on, just darn it. he's really, he's so.
And Dapper Dan is just like, he's not even mad. He's just like. Just
really,
just very, very annoyed.
and also, in addition to the comedy of this moment, again, it does summarize, season 1 Dark Cop, and he's on a learning curve, and he's trying to be, he's trying to be something that he has to. Again, he's trying to be more Batman than Dark Cop, and that's kind of Dark Cop's kind of lesson through season 1. That needs to be, more like the guy who's, a student learning with other heroes in the grand scheme. He can't just jump into kind of being kind of the hero. He's got to go through the learning curve, and that's kind of Dark Cop's arc in the first season, in a way.
Okay, cool. Alrighty then. So my number 3, Dragon, I call this one the Duck Washington Special. All right, folks. So Commander Cobalt, Dragon, honestly, besides maybe even counting Slothmaster, I think Commander Cobalt is a fascinating and deeply entertaining side character in Super Academy who I could just envision a whole spin-off series with him, like a G.I. Joe parody or something like that.
I remember, I think it might have been just you and me spitballing in the
stream,
in the stream, because I remember I responded to this and I forgot that it was you who said this. The moment I'm now reminded that when you said it, I was thinking, yeah, it could be just like the Captain America serials from First Avenger, but
right, yeah. Oh God. So Duck Washington is just one of the most enigmatic and awesome people in the Super Academy cast, I think. I've actually listened to a few of his podcasts that he's done with the movie machine, and this guy is just an improv machine, Dragon. This guy is just the king of improv. Basically, the behind the scenes of this story is that the directors on this scene, it's basically Duck Washington, Commander Cobalt, talking with Corona. It's in the middle of episode 3 or episode 2, the energy episode where Corona is kind of like pushing herself too thin, and Cobalt's talking about how he's worried about her grades and everything. And then Duck Washington was just given the direction to basically like tell a funny story. Just tell a funny story. and from that, we get this ridiculous Nazi swimsuit competition. Like, he's undercover at a Nazi swimsuit competition. That's how the story goes off. And Dragon, I don't even want to try and replicate it because it's just so amazing and so beautiful. It's just
we did a Christmas basically speculatory Super Academy Christmas special, and I had to come up with a Duck Washington special, essentially, for the holidays. a Christmas story that he told in my pitch. And again, it's really difficult because you can't measure that comedic brilliance. It's really hard to replicate.
No, like I said, I'm not even going to try and do it. Like, I'm not even going to try and like replicate what Duck Washington did in this scene because it's just so funny. And of course, it just goes on and on, Dragon, and it's all just one take. And it's all completely improvised on Duck Washington's part. That's what makes it so impressive. I mean, there might have been some editing with the audio here and there. I don't know, because some of it is off camera. But other than that, I mean, the whole story it flows and it just goes on so many different tangents. And let's see, like Corona and Glyph are talking. Like Corona is, like she's like, how long did the story go? Glyph's like, it doesn't end. There's no ending. I forget what Glyph says the message.
Glyph summarizes the point, saying, she summarizes the point of the story, which is don't overextend yourself or something along those lines.
And then I just love the timing of how it cuts away. It's just like, like Glyph leaves, Corona's just left there alone with Cobalt, who's just like in deep thought, just talking to himself. And then he's like, I just don't know. Just such a well-executed scene. Like I said, it just, the comedy, both from the absurdity of the improvised bit on Duck Washington's part and, Corona and Glyph's reaction to it, just altogether one of the most hysterical moments from season 1, easily.
It's kind of funny, just occurred to me now, just bringing up the Duck Washington special. I was watching some Linda Carter Wonder Woman recently, and the first season set during World War II. It's set in the 40s, and it doesn't go exactly like that story, but I mean, I'm pretty sure because they worked in Nazis every which episode, and the bad guy basically one of them was in a Miss USO pageant, so it kind of reminds me a little bit of that. Like, hey, well, it's kind of close to a Nazi swimsuit competition. There's a swimsuit competition, and if I'm right, there's probably like a Nazi, I believe the bad guy was like a Nazi infiltrating the swimsuit competition. So, it's kind of got me thinking it while we were going through it here.
Okay, all right. So you're number 3.
Okay, number 3. Okay, this one's just it's kind of prideful, but this 3. I really do love this scene.
Oh yeah.
Number 3, the Fracture.
No, by all means, man. By all means, you have bragging rights here.
The entrance of Fracture.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a very prideful moment for me. I mean, so this to give the really quick. Yeah, proud papa moment. It sounds ridiculous, but here's what it is, folks. Quite simply, is that during one of them, again, folks, I'm going to take this opportunity not to make it about myself, to make it about what you can do for Super Academy.
Yeah, please.
Again, in the live streams that are coming up, we don't know exactly what, at this point in time, we'll know what the additional live streams might be, but for all we know, they could be character creation live streams. And what they did in the first go-around of Super Academy, they had something called a character creation live stream, where basically everyone in the comments would speculate to the guys on air who would work up rudimentary sketches, and based on the descriptions and kind of the pitch of characters who could be introduced to Super Academy, hero or villain or in between, They put him up there, and basically by the end, I don't believe they voted on it. Basically, it's just kind of like basically whichever one that gravitated towards them most, they picked. I want to say 2, maybe 3 characters. I think two characters, and they put them in the show. And I had pitched one of those characters. I had pitched Fracture. And essentially, what I pitched, if I'm remembering correctly, is that what I was thinking was along the lines of Clock King from Batman the Animated Series. I was thinking along the lines of that because that's just one of the great kind of characters, the Clock King, especially the animated series, the Clock King. So that's what I was thinking. And if you look at it, if you ever just pull up the image of Clock King from the Batman the Animated Series and you look against Fracture and Super Academy, you'll notice very striking similarities. And I didn't describe him visually that much. And it's just amazing that, again, I pitched the character that was, what if you had a villain? Because I was thinking villain to be exact. I pitched the villain that what if you had a villain whose name was Fracture, and he could see kind of the weaknesses in people. Basically, he would see the fracture points. Like, he would know how to defeat anyone just by kind of, he would see in fractures, essentially. He'd see the weaknesses, like a weak point in the glass, if you will, in any character, which would make him and he wouldn't be like a big imposing guy. Just be, I don't believe I even put that in there. So again, just the guy who could see the weaknesses in people. That's all I really wrote. I typed them there and sent them to him. Anyway, so just with Fractures, based on that, it's almost as if they peered into my mind, because everything I was picturing in my mind was brought to life. With Fracture, he's played by Max Savage, and Max Savage did an excellent job. And again, he's also kind of what I had in mind. Again, kind of like a Clock King type persona there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, again, to me, I was just blown away by how cool Fracture was and how he looked. And again, with not a lot of detail, at least they did it even better than I thought he could ever. I thought he was going to be, because I almost completely forgot about it, just getting so hyped up. Yeah, Super Academy's going to get made, and honestly, Fracture's like in the back of my mind, saying, "Oh yeah, probably like a cameo or something." But no, he's a main character. Right. It was awesome. It's just
they worked him in as like he was like the pivotal plot point of the first episode.
I know, and again, it's like wish fulfillment of the year right there. Again, I'm endlessly proud of Fracture, and I love the fact that he's in 3 of the 4 episodes too. Which
sure.
He's in every episode but 2. No, but episode 2. That's just the scene itself. It's a classy meeting scene. The things I just really appreciate about the scene, just beyond the fact that hey, there's a guy I had a hand in, is the fact that. We get a great sense of characterization. Like, he has a pre-existing history with Chaotrix, and then the Death Side family. He's done deals with them before. He comes up with different aliases for different business contacts, and they played him as a cool cryptic character. He has like the teleporting cane. He's got all these cool, fascinating elements to him that, again, just like it just makes me fall in love with Fracture even more than when I just kind of threw the idea at him.
Definitely.
Endlessly proud of Fracture, and just the highlight of the season for me.
Awesome. Okay, folks. So my number 2. Now it's funny, Dragon, because I feel like this is a little bit of like a memento here, because like my number 3 is basically the moment that my number 2 leads into, and then my number 1 is basically the moment that my number 2 leads into. So it's just kind of like we're working backwards through the first half of episode 3 or of episode 2. I really love the first half of episode 2, folks. So my number 2 moment is the Corona Rushmore montage. Oh yes. Now, Dragon, I love how this was one of my proudest podcasting moments, talking about this show on the podcast, because I called directly on air. I was like, this has got to be Rushmore. It's got to be Wes Anderson. And Dragon, I don't think you were sure.
I was not sure. Bear in mind, I had not seen the frame-by-frame comparison. I don't think there's one made. There should be one made of the frame-by-frame comparisons for the novel.
There really should be. Because this is right on the damn money. Of course, Wes Anderson is always kind of known for his quirky characters and settings and whatnot. So I think Super Academy does borrow some of those same traits, especially with the character style and whatnot. But this montage we get is just spot on, just such a wonderful homage to one of the best Wes Anderson movies, of course, being Rushmore with Bill Murray and of course Jason Schwartzman as well, who's the subject of the montage. But
Bill Murray,
yeah, Dragon
Master.
I mean, I mean, you want to talk about wish fulfillment for me. Like, this was like at the height of my love affair with Wes Anderson, and I get this. And then to have the creators like basically confirm in the comments when we did the recap, like, yep, that's 100% Rushmore. I'm like, yes, that's validation for me.
Can you imagine if we did like a direct airs on a Wes Anderson Super Academy?
Oh dear God! Oh, don't even.
Bill
That's
Murray,
a rabbit hole.
Master, I'm telling you.
Oh, that's a rabbit hole, my friend. That is a rabbit hole right there. Let us not go down that.
Oh, okay, continue, please.
But yeah, I of course I really love the Eric Andrade score. It's really really bouncy and fun. You know, it gets in your ear. You know, it's a nice earworm. I also love in the music how the music kind of reflects like Corona's kind of like, you know, it's got a great beat to it. The montage where at first we see her doing all these different things and she's super excited about it. You know, she's super jumpy, super energetic, super into it. And then it passes by and we see, you know, like she's still really into it, but she's maybe a little bit slower. And then it gets slower and the music slows down, like the music gets a little sluggish. It's just like do 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 do, and you know, and she just it's just such a great progression. Which Dragon, that progression was actually something they added from Rushmore, because Rushmore it's basically like, hey, look how many multi-curricular activities this kid is in. Isn't that funny? But with this, they actually turned it into a story point with, you know, like Corona stretching herself too thin, which becomes a really powerful point of her character within the episode, because of course we find out that the reason she's stretching herself so thin is because of the limited time that she's going to be on Earth, and she wants to experience a lot of things. So yeah, the montage, of course, just huge fan service for me as a big film nut. I never thought I'd see like an almost frame perfect recreation of a Wes Anderson scene within Super Academy, but there it is. And I would even dare to say it might even be better than the scene it's homaging, which I'm sure the creators are just going to blush and say, like, no way, you know, like Wes Anderson is the king. But seriously, like I said, the way that they make this type of montage even more plot relevant with the passage of time and the, you know, kind of like the degrading of Corona's energy, it works really, really well. Like I said, just the energy, the music, it all comes together. And, you know, like I said, we're going to work in kind of a memento way, because literally the end of my number one moment leads directly into this moment. So what do you know? All right, Dragon, what is your number two?
Okay, my number two is from episode 4. Again, so a lot of my moments are from episode 4, towards the top here. It's the hospital scene at the end of episode 4.
Oh, God, yeah, it gets me every time.
Now, a big reason this is on here, and again, while we didn't really get into the pilot with this list, let's just say this, one of my favorite elements of this scene when we were talking about it, and also just to bring it up for posterity's sake, it takes me back to what hooked me on the show from the pilot, where it's just that scene at the end where it's Power Kid and Dark Cop. It's the Malcolm scene from the end of into the pilot where they're walking in the snow. It's that beautiful shot. Ever since I saw Nostalgia Creek, you know, they showed like a little trailer of Super Academy. That shot always kind of stuck out to me, like these two costume characters walking in the snow, just having a really casual chat with each other, which, as we see in the episode, is really kind of great, heartwarming, dramatic scene. And we have a scene very much reflecting that, but a little bit from, again, it's a very similar scene, but worked into the events of this season versus the pilot. So it's again, it's a reminder of walking in the snow. It's a great Dark Cop, you know, post battle. He's very vulnerable in this scene. It's a sweet scene of Dark Cop revealing
my favorite bit in this whole scene is when Dark Cop like quickly reaches for the domino mask as soon as Power Kid enters the room.
Yeah, he feels exposed and vulnerable, so he once again can keep his mystique as much as he can with the mask.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, just I love it with Dark Cop's character. You know, we kind of get underneath the shell a little bit. Again, while he's still putting the mask on, there's still, again, Dark knows who he is. At least he has a really good, you know, he told Malcolm they see him without the mask on. Just, it's like keeping up whatever barrier he can. He reveals that he feels expendable, which is that's kind of a Dark Cop admitting a great vulnerability that's the reason he's been overcompensating, and it's something like Batman would never really admit that sort of thing. And that's where Dark Cop differs from Batman in great respect. I don't mean just to keep going to Batman comparisons, but they're a little unavoidable in places. Mm-hmm. In a good way. Is that Dark Cop? He very vulnerably. He says he feels expendable. He's in a very vulnerable place in that hospital bed. He's going to be confined to a wheelchair for a while. With the broken tibia or like the shattered tibia, whatever. And then Power Kid comes back at him. This is like taking me to that snow moment here, where Power Kid has this beautiful thing where he basically communicates to Dark Cop, you have. Dark Cop's convinced that you have more potential to be, you're the real hero. You have more potential to be a hero. And Power Kid comes back at him with the fact that Dark Cop is his family. I mean, he's kind of divorced himself from the existing family who keep rejecting him every twist and turn. Because Power Kid throughout that season, he's been like trying to give at least Chaotrix a second chance. Like, come on, Chaotrix, don't do this. I know there's some good in you. And of course, she's rejecting him throughout the season. And some people you just can't save, being the message. And the fact that Dark Cop has been there for him all throughout, like an actual family member. He tells him like, no, Dark Cop, you're not expendable. You're my family.
Right.
It's so genuine, and as genuine as it is in this scene, as great as the drama in this scene is, they found a way to work in such a charming way. They did it, Tiki. Oh my God, it's so charming. This is where the heart of the scene is, where we do infuse a little bit of laughter here, where we have the fun laugh of. We have like the two fun little laughs at the end of the scene here, where we have Power Kid wants to give Dark Cop a hug, which Dark Cop will not allow, and then we have the wonderful Ted Fenn right here, folks. Again, check him out. Oh my God, Fenn right here is so brilliant in the scene here. He's doing the imaginary barrel hug here, like he's basically hugging what Dark Cop describes as stop hugging what you think is an imaginary barrel, and basically I will allow you just for a moment to imagine hugging me. It's Dark Cop keeping whatever kind of mystique, kind of rock-like exterior that he can. It's like to the most ridiculous level, but it's so sweet and so endearing. They're kind of back to their old selves in a way. And then we have this beautiful callback to a moment from the end of the first episode, which I also like, which almost made the list. And Tiki kind of had the moment, so I just figured, well, it really comes here, is that we call back Totes and Goats.
Totes and Goats.
Yeah, we call back Totes and Goats, like at the end of the scene. It's like, Totes and Goats, don't say that. And it's like, that's their runner. It's like, he's the straight man to the comedian. He's the good cop, bad, literally the Dark Cop Power Kid. God, yeah.
All right.
Just beautiful scene. All the top marks to the scene, acting, everything. Oh, it's so good.
And my number one also has to do with the Power Kid and Dark Cop dynamic, folks. My number one moment in Super Academy Season 1 is the Power Kid drunk dial. Oh my God.
This scene is so well directed.
I mean, as you were saying, with the great mix of comedy and emotion, Dragon, like, obviously this scene is more comedic than emotional, but they do get some good emotion in here. I love when Dark Cop's kind of reflecting, like, I admit I've enjoyed the recreational activities that you and others have.
And we see with the directing, we see the images on like the laptop or something.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you just got to give it up to Ted Fenright for his drunk acting. Like, oh my God, it's so on point. Dragon, like, I think maybe my favorite line in all of Season 1 is when Fenright is just like, but I'm wearing my red sweater. It's just like he just sounds so urgent in that moment. I'm wearing my red sweater. Does this mean you don't like us?
Is that sweatshirt?
So this scene just says so much about Dark Cop and Power Kid's dynamic. I love how Dark Cop starts recording the conversation because, he's just like, oh boy, this is going to be good. And of course, calling out like, wow, like that super strength doesn't translate to metabolism, which is kind of a conversation we have with characters like Deadpool and Captain America.
Yeah.
So it's good to kind of get that clarification. Like, nope, Power Kid is I think Power Kid.
He doesn't have he doesn't have a super metabolism. He just has
He not only doesn't have a super metabolism. I would say he's like kind of a lightweight.
Oh yeah.
But what? Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things where I don't even want to try and replicate Femright's delivery on some of it because it's just so good and on point. And then of course, right when Dark Cop is trying to have a moment with Power Kid, like, Power Kid, and though you might get on my nerves sometimes, I've got to admit. And then of course, Power Kid just dozes off, falls asleep. But then immediately wakes up and is just so discombobulated that he's like, whose phone is this? And then Dragon, a great punctuation to that scene happens. This is what I'm talking about, kind of like the direct lead into my number 2 moment is Corona just oh my god, just Megan Dowd in this scene is just so, like, I love how she just like gets on her stomach and like, is like spreading her arms like, rise and shine, Power Kid. The sun is up and it's time to greet the day.
Again, I have to wonder if she studied at the Formiga School of Acting a little bit.
God.
I gotta wonder.
And of course, that's kind of like the lead-in of like, there's so much to do. I have this club and this club and this club, and that's the lead into the montage. So yeah, like I said, Dragon, I didn't really intentionally mean for my top 3 moments to be sort of this weird reverse narrative Memento type situation, but yeah, that's the way that's how it goes. Like I said, I really, really adore that first half of episode 2. Just really, really good stuff. But like I said, I think in general it just kind of comes down to the mix of comedy and heart with this Drunk Dio call, and also just the great Ted Femright just giving it his all with the comedy and with the delivery. So that's it.
Okay, my number 1 connects directly to my.
What?
Exactly what the moment is, and especially if you've been watching the live streams. But I mean, seriously, folks, there wasn't a doubt in my mind when we were making a list. It was either going to be on my top 5 or Tiki's top 5. This is the number 1 moment, hands down. Like, my God, it's
kind of like we were doing the top 10 Nickelodeon shows, and we were both kind of fighting for Hey Arnold.
Yeah, it's like 1. And again, folks, while it is kind of the obvious go-to, it's not as go-to for a reason, because it's just there's no beating it. My number 1, of course, is the ending, and more specifically, the very end of the ending, the wink.
Yeah.
So let me explain. So it's to give
back and wink.
Sure. So let me I want to seriously give props to the whole sequence, because the whole sequence is honestly what I would go back to. Of course, the very end is the big hallmark of it all. But it's like if you had to embody it to one shot, it's the very end of the wink. But the whole sequence, the whole ending sequence, literally right after the second right after the hospital scene, we go into this beautiful little ending montage. And this to me, short of that really tension filled scene, with the Andrade score. Listen to this. If I had to pick one track from the entire season, I'm going with this track here. It's like, oh god, it feels. Now that time has passed, and we have the perfect comparisons. This feels so. The score here feels so Luke Cage-esque.
I can see that. Yeah.
It feels like such a Luke Cage ending almost, and it's perfect. It's we have the Andrade score playing. We transition from the few great final moments of the season that kind of speak great volumes. We see this beautiful one with Ward played by Linkar, who again, folks, season 2 we can get Linkar.
Oh yeah. Again.
So it's great. We have again, Dark Cop gets somewhat of a Batman moment where he delivered in an envelope. He delivers Ward back the gravitic conduction engine, and
I really like how they made Ward into like a schmarmy businessman who wasn't a villain.
Yeah. He was, again, the comparison I always had for him is that he's Tony Stark mixed with Lex Luthor.
Right, but he doesn't have any of the evil of Lex Luthor. He's just kind of like a shrewd businessman, but that doesn't make him a bad guy.
Exactly. We weren't sure where they were going with Ward until, again, really, as in the very beginning, it seems like it can go either way. Then as we got more time with him, it seems, again, right now, it seems, I honestly, going forward with Ward, this isn't a speculation video. All I say is I would infer that I think Ward's going to be on the side of the good guys, but at the same time, I think he'll be a more ruthless version of Tony Stark in a way that he's a good he's a good guy, but he's like the Tony Stark that's still profiting on things of Ward in a way.
I could see that.
Anyway, just getting back on point. So again, the thing with Gavin Ward, and then we get to one of my favorite bits in kind of the 3-part thing here, where we have Chaotrix, and Chaotrix has this great moment. Like, she's been through so much in the season, where her father's disappointed her profoundly, and now he's gone, and now she has to really face a big decision. It's almost like a calm in the score, and then she's like screaming, she's losing it, she's breaking stuff in the scene. Like, oh god, it's really great. And then we have this beautiful, like, it's like a painting of season 1. If you made like a painting or a single photograph of season 1, it's this image here where we pull back from this beautiful summation of the season with the fulfillment of Dark Cop's arc, where he's in the wheelchair, but he's with his friends here. They're all having good times, and we've seen Dark Cop kind of having some bits of levity in those lunchroom scenes and the cafetorium scenes, and it's just this. We're with our friends of the season. We pretty much see everyone. I think Starburst might be in the scene, and we have like pretty much everyone's in the scene. Like Lifts in the Clown, which is kind of nice. Oh yeah, hey, one of the main head honchos of the show, he's in there too. So it's great for so many reasons. But basically, that core group, that table's like, hey, here are all our friends we made this season, and we're pulling back. And again, the story behind this being was just a lucky final note they hit. It just happened. It was like a complete accident, but my God, it was like a perfect. It punctuates beautifully. The scene is punctuated beautifully by Slothmaster. It's like a complete lightning in a bottle type moment, kind of like what you have with a Duck Washington special, but with Slothmaster, and like kind of a great visual improvisation here, where we pull back and that score is just so warm. It's giving the warm, tingly feeling, and like, how could this moment get any better? And we pull back, and the final we just have, like, as Slothmaster looking in the camera, he gives a wink, and you have the wink is score, just like the little, like, almost like you tapped like a triangle or something like that. And then, like, that's the end. Like, oh my God, that's so perfect. Was perfect punctuation for the season, followed by our cool, like, lead-in for potential season 2 with the epilogue with Chaotrix. But still, it's like,
and I just remember, like, immediately upon watching that, writing a comment like, okay, that ending officially Slothmaster has officially stolen the show with that ending.
And honestly, I mean, not wrong, there's a lot of stuff I love in episode 4. It just, honestly, that ending is the reason. If I had, like, someone held a gun in my head, pick your favorite episode of Super Camp, I'm going to go with episode 4 pure for that moment, man. It's so powerful. It's so just, it gets you every time. I would just watch I recommend everyone watch the series, but if you're just going to watch, like, a moment in the series, that's the moment I go to.
And of course, I also want to highlight Jacob Gulliver's beautiful soliloquy he went on regarding this moment during the Kickstarter Season 2 live stream launch. Where he was essentially kind of just reminiscing about being on set when they were filming this moment and just having this surreal kind of feeling, especially with, composing, like, how the shot came together and how you had everyone on screen and how you pull back from the lunch table to Slothmaster and the wink and kind of like that final fourth wall break. And, and Gulliver, like, I forget exactly his exact words, but I just know it was something to the extent of, like, it just made him feel like, wow, he did it, and he was a part of creating something that was really special.
Yeah, it was that moment where he forgot he was making something, he was in the universe. That was kind of
right. And, yeah, thank you. That's exactly how he put it. Yeah.
And again, I can only imagine just that feeling. It's just like I can picture that in like a biopic almost. It's like a John Lee Hancock movie. That little moment, or like just being a director in that moment of just like that realization that, I did it.
Congratulations, Jacob Gulliver. You are now the subject of one of Dragon and I's famous hypothetical John Lee Hancock biopics.
Like, if we were to let's go in the very briefly, just down the just imagine this. If Tiki and I did direct years on the biopic for Super Academy, for the making of Super Academy.
Yes.
I'm saying, imagine this. We'd have basically our stars be Gulliver, Decker and Lifson. They would be our main characters, kind of like Hitchcock, but Super Academy.
Right.
Essentially, we just kind of go through, and there's that moment. The moment I'm kind of going on, that'd be that moment where Gulliver, being kind of our maybe our protagonist, at least again one of our main guys, there, just having that moment of realization, just like that great moment of like, huh. I did it. It's I was part of. Look at this magic. We brought something. It was like just like we had that idea, and we kind of nursed it, and let so many people support us in that idea, and it's such a reality now. It's kind of transcending fiction almost. It's beautiful.
Sure. All right, and Dragon, I have just two more very, very quick moments to just kind of like extra moments, like little extras. Ja-ja-ja. All right, so. Of course, we've got to give props to the great Tim Kuhn for the awesome line, "For my family."
Colorblind Kyle is such a brilliant concept.
Yes. I'm expecting hopefully if season 2 does become reality, out of all the side characters, I'm honestly expecting Colorblind Kyle to kind of come into the limelight the most out of all the side characters.
I mean, if you have to pick, we're going to have to pick Slothmaster, but if we can have an additional one, Colorblind Kyle.
I mean, I think at this point, like, the ending of season 1 already kind of solidified that Slothmaster should be in the main cast. But yeah, besides Slothmaster, I definitely think Colorblind Kyle.
Is your other mini moment, is it the other Tim Kuhn's line?
No, but would you like to say that one?
Yes, I would, very briefly. Who's going to help me be the windmill?
And to that, Dragon, I echo our favorite Rugrats quote. But I was the Willow. All right. Really quick, just because this actress made an appearance on the live stream, we got to share some pleasantries with her. I love the moment between Moonbeam and Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh yeah.
At the end of episode 2. Oh my god. I love how it actually connects to the episode where, like, because earlier on we see like Cobalt, like the exercise is basically to pass a disc through some sort of like ring or hoop.
Yeah, like you toss it in the net, and which with Moonbeam's power set,
you have to use your powers. And Moonbeam's like, my power is that I talk to the dead. And then Cobalt's just like, you figure it out. You have 2 weeks. You've had plenty of time to prepare for this. I'm not sure exactly how much time.
I love that eventually she did figure it out, though. I just love that. It makes no sense, but I don't care.
Because Teddy Roosevelt can just basically be a poltergeist and pick it up and move it for her, which is really sweet and really awesome. And of course, I just love the delivery. Like, oh, gee, thank you, Teddy. That's Mr. President, my dear. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, that Moonbeam's just so darn pleasant.
So adorable. Oh, my God.
Again, I mean, again, with the Halloween, just because I mentioned the Christmas one, the Halloween pitch that we did, I had like a little bit gag with Moonbeam. Basically, she kind of helped decorate the Halloween party by having spirits and, kind of populate the place. Like she invited spirits and ghosts to the party.
Dark Cop in some sort of absurd Twilight parody.
Right.
Twilight Zone. That would be much too cool.
Yeah, I had. Apparently, I went too dark for the creators of Super Academy with my Halloween pitch. People almost died. It's not like it's supposed to be scary or anything.
All right.
No, I'm kidding, but they were right.
So, Dragon, besides pushing the Kickstarter one last time, any last words you'd like to say about this?
Oh God, it's just Super Academy is just it's an amazing thing. It's like again, it's the little show that it's the little show that could in many ways, and I mean them in the best of analogies. It's that it's so great. You can look upon like the building blocks of the show with those live streams. You can see how it got made. You can see kind of the swell of support unfold, and the end. And rarely do you have a show where you can see that and be really proud of the results. Seriously, rarely will you see like a it's there's some comparisons I want to make. I don't want to just get convoluted with them. Just trying to streamline that. So basically, it's it's just rarely in life will you have something like that, like something with the groundswell of support that is going to be like 100% like a positive outcome. Rarely in life, and I think Super Academy is one of those rare occurrences where that it's like your average Kickstarter, but it's so much more than that because the first go. It just missed it by that much because again, like the time limits on Kickstarter, just it's ridiculous. It's like only 30 days. You should really have more time than that. But the point is, But when they came back the second time furiously, and you know, in a good way, you know, they came back with a real fire in them. And again, people knew what they were capable of. And oh my God, we had so much fun with these guys, and we really desperately want to see this project. And when they got a second bite of the apple, they made it. And what I'm getting at with the 100% thing is that the end result is just, it's so perfect, so flawless. Again, Deacon and I, we never really had a bad word to say about it, because it's really, they got it so right, and what these guys are capable of, it's astonishing. And I'm eager, as I'm sure everyone is, to see what they're going to do further with this universe. There's so many great areas to explore and develop in this universe. I mean, again, there was this famous comment Deacon always like to go to, or someone said in one of the videos, left a comment saying, yeah, 6 seasons in a movie. That's what we need for Super Kevin. I'd love that guy's thinking. We should go with that guy's thinking. 6 seasons in a movie, indeed, sir. I mean, again, that's let's reach some stretch goals. Let's overfund this thing. Overfund it all the way, guys. Let's ensure the financial security of this series, because the endless possibilities with Super Academy. I'm so impressed with the show. It's running out of words.
Yeah, so with that, folks, thank you for joining us. And like Jacob, I'm sorry, getting my words mixed up. Like Dragon said, by all means, go ahead and click the link right below. Donate and contribute if you at all can. Any little bit helps, even if it's just $5. Any little bit helps. Contribute. At least, if you can, just share the link, share the episodes. Get the word out, spread it all around, spread the love, spread the joy. This show is awesome, and we need to make more of it. All right, folks. So I think that about covers it. So join us next time as we chronicle join us next installment as we continue to reflect on the little idea that could, which in the end turned into something truly super. Next time on Super Academy Chronicles.
Dun 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 dun.